This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
So you've got $70,000 and you want to buy a sports car. Well, believe it or not, you can buy these two cars lined up on our drag strip. Case, what are you in?
I'm in a final edition Supra, and one cool thing about this car is that it's very likely to hold its value really well, even after you buy it new. That Corvette, on the other hand, has depreciated since it was new, which makes these both similar amounts of money.
So technically, and I do mean technically, the 2026 Corvette starts at like $71,995. Realistically though, 90. You know what I'm saying? By the time you add any kind of options, these are $90,000 cars. Now that Supra, being a final edition, is also around $72,000. Here's the thing though.
That Supra is limited, right? They're only doing 1,300 of them.
That's true, and you get a few extra goodies like the spoiler on this one, the wheels, a few little bits on the interior, nothing major, but what's really cool about this Supra is that it is fast. Super fast, surprisingly fast.
More so than you think it should be when you look at it on paper.
Yeah, so Case, walk me through the specs on that thing.
So on paper, 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque. So it sounds like it should be absolutely demolished by that Corvette.
But that's the BMW B58, which historically is an underrated engine. What those 3-liter inline sixes can do in the real world is astonishing. And when you couple that with the fact that our airstrip here is over a mile above sea level and you have turbocharging, that helps a lot.
That's true, it makes a big difference. So 3-liter straight 6 versus your V8 sounds like I would be at a disadvantage, but especially like you said up here at altitude, this engine's got that going for it.
So this is a base model C8?
Base, it's actually 3LT, but it's the standard C8 Corvette. So it's a 6.2 liter pushrod V8, naturally aspirated. Now this one does have the Z51 package, so it makes 495 horsepower with the active exhaust, 470 pound-feet of torque. This is gonna be interesting though, because genuinely altitude affects these cars immensely. Now before we hit the strip, let's do a rev battle and see which one sounds better. All right, Case, I got my draggy going. Our performance device is set up, ready to go. This first race is just going to be flat-footed. No brake torquing, no launch control.
We're just gonna see from a dig who wins.
Exactly, let's see how they do.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Now, Case has to build boost, and I've got a dual clutch transmission.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, taking a second for the turbo to spool, but once it does, woo.
Okay, wow, that mid-engine launch, that's pretty hard to beat.
The Supra gets moving, but naturally aspirated and more horsepower. The Corvette launches harder and stays ahead. So there's no surprise there.
That Corvette naturally aspirated. It launches hard while the
Supra is working on building boost, but I'll tell you what, this next drag race, we're gonna do launch control, and I think you'll be shocked at how much of a difference it makes in the Supra.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. Now, of course, you also have a more conventional torque converter automatic, right? Whereas this C8 Corvette has the 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. So it really fires off shifts like crazy, but I do happen to know that those Supras are insane when you launch them on boost, even in stock form. So that's gonna be exciting to see.
Yeah, if nothing else, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot closer.
So Case, what was that last quarter mile time?
It was a 13.45 on an unprepped surface, which on rear-wheel drive vehicles like these does make a difference, and we're a mile above sea level, but I bet that our next time where we're actually building boost here in the Supra before launching is going to be quite a bit better.
Now, even on this crappy surface, I ran a 1257 with no launch control, which is pretty nutso. So now what I've gone ahead is I've put the car in race mode, PTM race, traction off. Oh my God. Are you out of your mind? Come on, car. Okay. This car has the most finicky launch control I've experienced in a long time.
Which is funny, because isn't that system different because you've got the Z51 package than it would be in the base car, and it's a lot simpler on the regular Corvette?
Yeah, don't even get me started, Case. It's such a, you swing a cow over your head, pray to Zora Duntas himself, and then maybe they'll give it to you. Alright, but race mode engaged. You got your launch ready? You're feeling good about it?
Yeah, this car makes it pretty easy. Sport mode, traction setting for the traction control. 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the gas, and it does it.
All right, well, I've reset our draggies. I think we're ready to go. All right, for America.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hang on.
Sorry, I gave it about an eighth of an inch less brake pressure than it needed. And there's no warning, it's just, you just gotta figure it out.
Tell you what, you probably would have won that one.
The one where you didn't take off?
3, 2, 1, go!
So those...
Super didn't do launch control that time. He did a burnout instead.
All right, well, let's give it another go.
I might have also been a little too light on the brake. It's the fun thing about traction control launches in these cars is they're never quite right. But if you do get them right, man, they're fast.
Imagine if this was a Woodward Dream Cruise case. Oh, you wanna race me? Oh, hang on, let me, I know the lights turn green, but give me 27 seconds to 2 minutes so I can get my launch control perfect.
And then when all the conditions are perfect, it's gonna be really awesome.
You know, we might be 80 by that time, but that's going to be a great race.
3, 2, 1, go!
There we go, that was launch control.
Oh, wow, that Corvette's fast.
Oh my gosh, why do you need a Z06?
The Supra is fast too, but man, yeah, another 100 and some horsepower. That's hard to compete with.
Why would you need a ZR1? This thing is nutso. There's 100 miles an hour already, 110. Oh man, these Corvettes really boogie.
For being down on power on paper, it's not that much slower. Oh.
Wow, dude, that was better.
So Tommy, using launch control here in this car, it went from a 13.45 to a 12.72. So it picked up more than half a second.
That's pretty darn good. Now, my Corvette went a 12.03, a 12-second flat at 114 miles an hour. That is moving.
Yeah, I was hopeful that this Supra would be able to pull out a little bit of a miracle and make up for that horsepower deficit it has on paper. But yeah, that Corvette is really fast. There's no way around it.
This Corvette is actually 5 years old. It looks new, but we are protected because we have GrangerWarranty.com. And you can too. We actually bought extended warranty from Granger, and it already helped us out. We saved some money. And no matter if you have a truck or a car, anything, check out GrangerWarranty.com by clicking on the link below, and you too can save some money.
Well, tell you what, dude, let's go hit some roll races. We'll get the launch completely out of the equation, right? I mean, part of what makes this car so impressive is with that mid-engine setup, that engine's right kind of where that weight distribution needs to be to hook up from a launch. let's try the roll races though, where we get rid of that altogether, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see if it makes any difference. I still have a feeling that your engine naturally aspirated is going to have a bit of an easier time, but it's worth finding out.
Now here's an interesting case. If you have $70,000 to spend,
I really think that Supra is going to be a good investment. If you look at what happened to Heritage Edition,
Land Cruiser prices, right? Even when they were like a year old, they shot up to $100,000. And I think that Mark V Supra is going to have a legacy of being a very underrated car. And for the money, I think for $70K, you could buy that thing, especially because it's limited edition, hold on to it for years and not really lose any money.
I agree, Tommy. This is one car that should
really maintain its value, if not actually increase in value a little bit over time. And that's not usually how we shop for cars or recommend people shop for cars, but it is worth considering.
All right, so for this next test, sport mode, I've got traction on, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna run this roll test, 30 miles an hour, flat-footed, automatic, and then we'll do it one more time manual. Cool?
Good to go, let's do it.
All right, accelerating off. 30 miles an hour, there's 20. Okay, 25 and 30. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, wow. Corvette just like freaked out for some reason.
I know what happened to Tommy, but he got left behind.
Transmission was like, no, I don't know what to do.
This Supra is quick and it sounds good.
Well, that was interesting. Your BMW transmission just rocked it there. Mine actually did a full power cut and had a total freak out. So you won that one pretty definitively.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was looking in my mirror thinking, I think I went when he said go, but the Corvette, didn't really seem to respond. We'll do one more race where we shift it manually and see if we get a different result.
So I think where I'm at with this comparison is if I'm buying one of these new, I'd go for the Supra because I think it's going to hold its value better, and it's a phenomenal car. I really love that final edition. I love the way it looks. I love the way it drives. But if I were to buy one used, 100% I would go with the Corvette. These are really good used values. They're all convertibles, which is great. Even if you get a coupe, you can pull that Targa panel off. That's the way to do it, I think.
I agree, and also if I was shopping for one of these Supras, I would get it with a manual transmission because it's more fun to drive. I think it will probably also hold value better, but this transmission option matches that Corvette a little better for this test, so it makes sense here.
All right, manual mode for the roll race. Let's do it.
All right, second gear.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
Oh, come on, Supra.
Yeah, you see, when you get them matched up, the Corvette's faster, but on a roll, it's not that much faster.
Gain a little bit. It's close. We're actually pretty close.
That's pretty wild.
That's a good example of just how impressive that gosh darn B58 is.
You know, it's down over 100 horsepower, but when you get them completely neck to neck in the right gear at the right time, that Supra is such an animal.
Yeah, again, for on paper being as down on horsepower as it is, over 100, you would think it would be significantly further behind in a roll race like that, but it's a beast. This car is pretty quick.
Oh, it's freaking awesome. That thing is such a cool car. I know I'm driving the objectively quicker car, and at sea level, this Corvette would really start to pull ahead, but for what that Supra is, I freaking love it, and I'm definitely gonna miss it.
Hey guys, editor's note here. Do you know that we paid $72,000 for that Corvette? How much is that Supra?
Yeah, 69,000 and some change, I think. It's about the same. But that thing's going to be worth 71 a year from now. This thing's going to be worth like 52.
Like 65.
So we lost $7,000 in 6 months.
Yeah, we did. The way we roll in TFL. Buy high, sell low.
Well, folks, let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Huge thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Case, we'll get you a quicker car next time.
I think this is plenty quick for me, Tommy.
All right, guys, this has been a fun one. Thanks for watching.